If the greatest Japanese baseball talent of the next generation suddenly had to choose a flag, the rising sun or the taiguki, what would the cost be, and who would truly lose? We are witnessing an unprecedented geopolitical and athletic dilemma unfolding right now in the NPB, centered on a single electrifying player whose roots stretch across the globe and whose loyalty could redefine the balance of power in Asian baseball.
Welcome to 615 Aldea Baseball, where we track the global fault lines shaking up NPB rosters. Today, we're not just discussing a draft pick, we're analyzing a potential international flashpoint, Edopolo K, the man who might be wearing blue pinstripes in Sapporo, but whose heart and WBC eligibility lies partially in Seoul. The story of Edopolo K, the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters' future star, is rapidly transforming from a simple NPB scouting report into a global political thriller.
Born and raised in Japan, yet holding Korean citizenship through his maternal lineage, Edopolo is the embodiment of modern, multicultural athleticism. The moment the Korean Baseball Association's interest became public, the baseball world collectively gasped, especially those inside the walls of the Fighters organization. This isn't just chatter. This is a strategic move by a desperate Korean national team looking ahead to the 2026 World Baseball Classic. For years, Japan has dominated the talent pipeline, often absorbing players with diverse backgrounds. But now, the biggest talent in the 2025 draft cycle? A five-tool player who blends Japanese discipline with Nigerian athletic ceiling and Korean heritage could be poached before he even reaches his peak. The reaction from the Japanese traditionalists has been predictably sharp. We spoke to Mr. Tanaka, a longtime NPB commentator known for his fiery patriotism, and his words were scathing. This is a nightmare scenario for Nippon Ham. They developed the kid, honed his skills under the rigorous NPB system, only to see him potentially weaponized against Samurai Japan. It's an insult to the Japanese development pipeline and fundamentally undermines the spirit of the game. Tanaka's outrage, though widely shared among purists, misses the larger point about the globalization of identity. But let's look at the cold, hard data, which paints a much clearer picture of why Korea is targeting him so aggressively. Director Kim, a senior strategist within the KBO, confirmed the internal analysis to our sources. When we look at our projected 2026 lineup, we desperately need elite power and speed in the outfield. Edopolo, even conservatively, projects for 25 home runs and 30 steals by age 23. This is not a luxury, this is a necessity. He would instantly become the cornerstone of our defense, filling a speed and glove gap that has haunted us since 2017. To put this in perspective, Edopolo's 10-meter burst speed is reportedly 1.75 seconds, a statistical rarity that puts him alongside the fastest Olympic sprinters who attempt baseball. That speed is transformational for the Korean defense, which often relies on power bats rather than elite athleticism. For Korea, the calculus is simple. Invest emotionally and strategically now and reap the athletic rewards later. Now, many of you watching right now are probably thinking, wait, isn't this just a cynical, mercenary move? Doesn't a player raised in Japan feel loyalty to the land that molded him? This is the core conflict, the emotional climax of the story.
And this is where we must listen closely to the voice of the modern athlete. Dr. Lee, a sports sociologist specializing in Asian diaspora, explained the deeper motivations. You have to understand the pressures and opportunities facing a player like Edopolo. This is a chance to honor half of his heritage on the world stage, a chance that the Japanese team, packed with domestic talent, likely wouldn't offer him until much later in his career.
It's not necessarily about abandoning Japan. It's about embracing a deeper, more complete identity. I spoke to sources close to his family, and the decision will ultimately come down to the emotional pull. Japan offers comfort and familiarity. Korea offers a global platform to honor his maternal line and immediately play alongside established professionals he otherwise wouldn't meet. This narrative brings us to the ultimate counterargument. Why should Japan worry? They have plenty of talent, but that's a dangerously narrow view. Japan's strength in the WBC has always relied on both domestic powerhouses and the occasional high-impact Nikkei player. However, Japan itself has become reliant on players choosing their heritage, most recently with Lars Nootbaar, who energized the entire nation. The shock plot twist here is the subtle hypocrisy. If Japan celebrates the global recruiting of players like Nootbaar, they cannot legitimately condemn Korea for pursuing Edopolo. The deep irony is that Edopolo's potential shift to the Korean national team might actually force Japanese baseball to adapt faster. It forces them to acknowledge that the definition of a Japanese player is rapidly changing. As one high-level Japanese coach, speaking anonymously, summarized the organization's resigned acceptance, "We are globalizing too." If we scream foul about Edopolo going to Korea, what do we say about the future of NPB imports and their own international allegiances? We need to accept the new reality. Loyalty is multifaceted, and nationality is negotiable in global sports. The best strategy now is to hope he develops into a monster so great that if he ever faces us, it will be the most historic Japan-Korea baseball game ever played, a true clash of titans. The real shock isn't that Korea wants him. The shock is that Japan might be subtly accepting it, viewing him as a necessary cost of doing business in a globalized era. The biggest question remaining is not if Edopolo will choose Korea, but when he will reach the level required to make that choice unavoidable. This cultural crossroads defines the future of international baseball. Let us know in the comments, if you were Edopolo, which uniform would you choose and why? Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button right now on 615 Aldea Baseball to stay ahead of every seismic shift in global baseball.